What's up everyone, Dave Dustin here. Got another video for you. This one is going to be having a closer look at Seniorita Rio and Captain Fight. So these two comics just came over recently. I was lucky enough to add these to my collection. These are UK British editions. These came from actually Cartoon Art Productions in Glasgow, Scotland. I love cartoon art. With the rack, these are all Cartoon Art Productions books on the rack. So from Cartoon Arts, and they had some stuff they made themselves there. Some stuff they actually had made for them in Ireland. So there's an Irish connection there as well. But these are Scottish books and they're UK editions. These are extremely rare 1949 comics. They don't have glossy, slick magazine type covers. They are like newsprint pulp covers, just like the insides. So they're like self-covered comics. And we'll take a closer look at those, and I'll let you know what the stories came from inside, because these are extremely rare. You can't find these books anywhere. Like, I keep looking over some of the really rare books in my collection that you've never seen before and you'll probably never see again. So take a closer look at these. These are really awesome. So everyone knows there's also another Captain Fight. So this one here, I just got this last year. Captain Fight Comics is what it's called in the indicia. In all caps, Captain Fight Comics, all three words are all caps, and there's also a number 1 at the top corner here. Whereas this one, in the indicia, it is Captain Fight Comics, but only Captain Fight is all caps. The word comics, the first letter, the C, is in capital, and the rest of the word comics is in lowercase. So to differentiate them, we could call that Captain Fight Comics number 1, and this is Captain Fight Comics no number, or like I said, that is in all caps Captain Fight Comics. Maybe this one is just meant to be called Captain Fight, but it does have the word comics in the indicia as well, just only the capital is on the letter C. So anyway, Captain Fight Comics. So these are from Fight Comics. The one that's up there, the Captain Fight number 1, that actually has in it, let's see, the splash page is from a story inside Fight Comics number 61 from April 1949. And it's got inside of it a Fire Hair story from Rangers Comics, 1945. Daniel Boone from Rangers Comics, number 29 from 1946. It's got Captain Fight from Fight Comics number 61, April 1949 inside of it. Pencils by Jack Kamen and inks by Al Feldstein. It's got the Dollar Text story from Fight Comics 61, and it's got Seniorita Rio from Fight Comics 61. And then what they did is they'd have American comics inside, and they'd have British strips on the inside of, and inside the front cover, inside the back cover. So the British strips are Sammy, and on the inside the back cover is Poppin'Joy. So that is the Captain Fight Comics up there. Now, this Captain Fight Comics here. Here's the original splash page it came from. This story is not inside the book. So this cover story is not one of the stories in the book. That's a really awesome cover. It has a sword going right through the pirate, blood on the sword, blood dripping off, blood running down his back. That is insane. They had that on a children's comic back in the 40s. Because back then, it was considered that adults read the newspapers. Comics were looked at as it is children's comics. So these are meant for children, for kids. It's the way they were viewed in the 1940s and 50s and that. So that's crazy to be able to have that on a cover. And it's a Jack Kamen splash cover. That's really awesome. Yeah, that's before he was with EC Comics. So that story that's on the cover is actually from Fight Comics number 54. And there's also a story inside this. This Seniorita Rio story is inside this Fight Comics number 54 also. And once again, this story is not inside this book. Totally different story inside. So the story that's inside this book here is actually, it's got stories from Fight Comics 63. That is what is inside this book, is stories from number 63. So inside of it, we have the Captain Fight story from number 63. That's what's inside this book. And it's got a Hooks Devlin Special Agent story, also from 63, Fight Comics. And World World Adventurers, William Phelps, also from Fight Comics number 63, August 1949. That is what's inside this Fight Comics. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then there's this Seniorita Rio beside it. So Seniorita Rio, once again, it's from a splash. So here's a splash page, the original American. That's where they got this cover from. Once again, just like this, it was from Fight Comics number 54. This is a story inside Fight 54. But inside of this Seniorita Rio comic, it's all Fight Comics number 63 stories. It's another third of this book. So they took this book, Fight Comics number 63, they divided it into three. These are 2/3 of the stories. There's still a couple other stories that I think made up another book from this series that just nobody has discovered yet. The Seniorita Rio story inside this book is actually this story from Fight Comics 63, pencils by Jack Kamen, before EC Comics, and it also has this Rip Carson Risks Unlimited story from Fight Comics number 63. So what I think is, Fight Comics 63, they used 2/3 of the stories to make these two books. There's still 2 stories in Fight number 63 that are not used. So inside that book, they did not use the Tiger Girl story, which I think that this Tiger Girl story, and there's also the K.O. Kirby story, I think this makes up a 3rd comic in this line where they have it titled All Action Comics. All Action Comics. This is a 1/3 of the book, this is a 1/3 of the book, and this is probably another 1/3 of the book. There's probably a Tiger Girl. I don't think they would have used K.O. Kirby as the cover. I think they would have gone with Tiger Girl as a cover story. And then for the actual cover splash you'd see on it, just like these, have splashes from stories in Fight number 54. We look here and see, here's the stories not used yet in 54, so that's probably the cover for the All Action Comics Tiger Girl. They probably used this splash as the cover, and then the contents from number 63 for Tiger Girl and K.O. Kirby inside. The other, of course, the other option would be K.O. Kirby, so I don't think they would have gone with that as the cover. I think they would have used a Tiger Girl story. Then there's Hook Devlin's story and a Risks Unlimited story that were also in that. So anyway, Captain Fight and Seniorita Rio. I'll just zoom in. We'll take a closer look at them. I'll show you inside. It's really, really cool because they did not use 4 colors inside. They only used 2 colors. They have red and yellow. And then when they combine them, they have orange. So I'll show you that now. All right, so it's Fight Comics. So we got British strips on the inside and outside of the covers. We got Klaxon Kid, probably in Super Duper. There's your Captain Fight story. Really awesome work. Jack Kamen. This is all Iger shop work, so it might have had Al Feldstein inks on some of these stories that are in here. You can see the stories are quite off register, a lot of the coloring. It's fantastic though. You can read all these stories online. Just go to like Comic Book Plus. There's some other websites where you can read all those old stories. They have the whole comic all photographed and online. You can read through them all. There's the William Phipps. There's your Hooks Devlin, Special Agent. The next story. And Biff and Skip at the back. Like I said, in the indicia, we have Captain Fight Comics. But comics is not all in all caps, whereas the Captain Fight up there on the rack, that has all caps, Captain Fight Comics. Close that. It's got color on the back. Yeah, same advertisements that the book would have. The American version. Senorita Rio. So we got a Professor Adam story inside the front cover, so that'll be out of Super Duper. Rip Carson, Risks Unlimited. Again, just like the Captain fight, only 2 colors used, just red and yellow. Fantastic stuff. I love these old British comics. Late 40s, early 50s, especially this cartoon art stuff. This stuff's all just fantastic. So extremely rare, these books. There's the middle, and there's Senorita Rio story. Fantastic artwork in there as well. There's Biff and Skip, British strip at the end. CD Indicia, same thing. Senorita Rio Comics. The word comics is not all caps, just the letter C. All right. Well, that's it for another video. Hope everyone enjoyed it, and hope to be able to show you something that you've probably never seen before, and you'll probably never see again. This stuff is just extremely, extremely rare. I can't stress that enough. This stuff's just fantastic. To be able to find these comics by Cartoon Art Productions, I just love all these comics. Wait till next time. Cheers.